Sekiro as a ForHonor character. What would his moveset even look like? How do you translate Sekiro's deflecting and posture mechanics into this game? And most importantly, can you make it fun? This video will be divided as follows: basic moveset, special abilities, feats, and final explanation. Everything in Sekiro's moveset will be very interconnected, so before you comment anything, I ask you that you watch the final explanation. There I will explain how everything in his moveset and feats fits together. Just like in the game, Sekiro has an endless chain of light and heavy attacks. These are very similar to Centurion's in the sense that they are stab, chargeable, and can be soft painted into a guard break. Dodge lights and dodge heavies are pretty much the same thing. Heavy dodge attacks are slower, deal more damage, and they reach further. Charging a heavy till the very end will cast an Ichimonji. Essentially, during the last moment when the attack becomes unblockable, your guard will be forced to top, and you will gain hyper armor when you're actually dealing the strike. Just like in the game, doing one Ichimonji allows you to do a second one, albeit for less damage. The first one should deal around 30, and the second one 20. But note that this damage is not confirmed, it's simply another mix-up. You also have access to a kick from neutral and a zone attack that can be accessed mid-chain. Lastly, we have dodge cancelling and Sekiro deflecting, which I will be called blockading to fit ForHonor terminology. His blade blockade does not have superior block and drains 5% of the enemy's stamina upon activation. This will be very important later. And now here's where things get good. After a blockade, kick, or after throwing an enemy in any direction, Sekiro has access to any of the following punches. First, a 400 millisecond slash, which deals 12 damage. Second, another kick or pommel strike, which will drain the stamina out of the opponent, but does not stop stamina regeneration. Third, the zone attack, which becomes undodgeable, but costs more stamina to do, and offers worse chain pressure. And fourth, a death blow. This death blow is not confirmed, and you can think about it as Old Orochi's heavy deflect. This one is unblockable, has hyper armor, deals 35 damage, and can be soft painted into a guard break. This means you have to sacrifice guaranteed damage in order to get it. Or you can target switch it in team fights to hit somebody else, or you can get it on a wall splat, but be careful, Sekiro has horrible throw distance. And as the last piece of his moveset, he has a deflect that is only accessible through top and not the sides. Can you guess what that is? It's of course the Mikiri counter. Stepping on the opponent's blade will automatically remove 40% of their stamina, and then you can follow up with any of the 4 punishes. So, for a top deflect, you're getting 40% of the enemy's stamina and 12 damage. Guaranteed. Considering Kensei gets 25 guaranteed damage and 34 on a wall splat, I think this is fair. Tier 1. Sugar Pouch. Depending on your guard position, or if you're not even on luck mode, Sekiro will access one of the 4 sugars, just like what you had in the game. Depending on the one you choose, you will get either a 15% damage boost for 20 seconds, 15% defense for 20 seconds, have your attacks cost 50% less stamina in case you want mid-clear, or you will get stealth for 20 seconds. Each one is useful in their own situation, and it's up to the player to decide which one they want to use. Tier 2. Breath of Life. Landing a death blow will grant you 15 health automatically, incentivizing you to go for it more. Tier 3. Flaming Axe. Sekiro will gain instant hyper armor and will strike his axe in a small area in front of him, dealing 30 damage outright, plus 10 fire damage. This feat is similar to Yorm's Tier 4, but it's more reliant on you using that hyper armor to trade or option select oncoming attacks. Tier 4. Blood Ninjutsu. When this feat is active, landing a death blow will make your weapon glow red with blood, dealing 50% more damage for the next 20 seconds. If you think this is too strong, then I have to remind you that Fear itself has the same multiplier, but it's a team-wide buff and can be applied whenever you want. If for some reason this feat becomes too strong, then you can always just nerf the damage. So how does this all fit together? Is there anything in this moveset you think is too strong or too weak? This is what I'm here to address. First of all, Sekiro's infinite barrage of lights and heavies can be easily dodge attacked. That's why, depending on the timing, Sekiro might be able to dodge cancel out of it, or blockade the incoming dodge attack. But in theory, you can just sit there and block everything that he throws at you, right? Well, Heavy attacks deal chip damage, so you're gonna be trying to parry or dodge at some point, just like you do with Centurion's Chain Heavy mix-up. But the second you do, Sekiro might get you with a guard break. His endless string of lights and heavies require a double read to be punished. But that's okay, because you can just sit there and block everything he throws at you. It's a very low-risk mix-up for both parties, and it's only when Sekiro goes for a kick or a fully charged heavy that he becomes more easily punishable. Now let me talk about his blockade not having superior block. This essentially means that if you throw heavy, he will counterattack you. But if you have hyper armor, or if you dodge out of it, theoretically, you can keep going. That's why his 12 damage slash is 400 MS, because that way you can do that thing where he counterattacks you, quickly recover into another blockade, and counterattack again. In theory, this could go on forever, or until Sekiro decides to go for the bash punish, which will break hyper armor. You can also have two Sekiros blockading and counterattacking each other infinitely, or at least until one of them decides to go for a death blow, in which case the other one can just dodge out of it, go for a dodge attack, but at that point the other Sekiro might have soft feinted into a guard break or gone for his undodgeable zone. You also have to consider that consecutive deflecting will slowly drain out the opponent's stamina. Not pause, again, not pause, but stamina in ForHonor is basically the Sekiro posture mechanic. And so, you know those 3 cool ForHonor interactions video that I made? It's basically that, the character. Sekiro is a counterattacker. He has so many ways to punish you that I felt appropriate to give him the same health as Shinobi. He should be very classy. So in order to play Sekiro, you have to be perfectly in tune with the game's mechanics and how everything interacts with each other. I'm not joking when I say that this would probably become the hero with the highest skill ceiling out of them all if it was ever released. And now, let me talk about the death blow. Again, in order to get it, you have to sacrifice damage or be extremely close to a wall. This ability gets stronger with Feats, which incentivizes you to use it more. But even in a duel, if people are that scared of the unblockable, you can always just soft feint it into a guard break, effectively turning 12 guaranteed damage into 24 every single time if they keep dodging it. Even if it's more of a flex in duels, it should still be viable. And one last thing, the bash punish I mentioned drains stamina from the enemy, right? Well, if you Mikiri counter someone, you can just follow up with a pummel strike. Now both of these moves drain stamina, and they stack. Again, it does not pause stamina regeneration, so only go for this if you're absolutely sure that it will get the enemy out of stamina, otherwise, you just wasted a punish. It's like Jung Jun's choke in a way. Now, I'd say both of these moves combined should drain about 70% of someone's stamina. If you're below 70% and you get Mikiri countered, which by the way, if you look at Kensei, this stop deflect almost never happens, then let's be real, you should go out of stamina. And even with all that, you haven't really confirmed anything. You simply have the possibility of getting someone out of stamina, and at that state, Sekiro becomes extremely powerful. Because he also gets death blows on downed opponents, so if someone's out of stamina and you land a kick and go for the unblockable, assuming you read the enemy right, both outcomes lead to a death blow, just like Yorm and his hammer slam. And let me remind you, Sekiro gets 35 damage on a death blow plus 15 HP for a total health lead of 50, just like Yorm gets 26 damage outright plus 4 HP, and a shield of like, what, 25 hit points? So if you account for the numbers, it should be on par with Yorm's hammer slam. They're both very similar but with small differences. But this of course means that Sekiro can essentially Eagle Stallion enemies down by teammates for 35 damage, which can be annoying when getting ganked. But considering that heroes like Shugoki and Hitokiri already get like 34, and other heroes like Highlander and Centurion can get 30, even if 35 is on the higher end, it's one small concession to make this hero work. But yeah, that's a hero. If you really start thinking about all the cool interactions you could have with this character, the possibilities are endless. And I think he encapsulates this fast-paced Sekiro-style combat that I'd like to see more in ForHonor. So that's about it. Hope you enjoyed. See you next time.